It's December 31st, 2022. It's the Bill King Show right here at CIUT. And in the house from Basement Sessions, Jesse King. Welcome on.
Thank you. Great to be here. This is a family reunion of sorts.
Yes, it's been a while.
And we both share the same station. We've done the shows here, and great to be back.
You've been on the air how long now with Basement
This
Sessions?
is going to be my 10th year coming up.
10 years.
And you've been doing this how long now?
8 years.
8 years. I did have a couple-year hiatus, to be fair, but...
Where'd you go then?
Vacation. 2-year vacation.
Where did you go for a vacation for
I don't
2
even
years?
remember. It was
One heck
the
of a
lap
vacation.
of luxury.
Yeah. But it's great to be here because Mark is on vacation, Mark Hebscher, Gloria Martin, and Jessica's down in the States. She's down in Jersey.
Visiting some family.
Visiting family and friends, and we're here together. So today we got music to play and things to talk about. That last New Year's gig, have you played one in your lifetime?
I can't even remember. I know that was your thing. That was the good time of year because the pay is generally
that was my
better.
bread and butter for a few years.
Yeah, it's like the sales, the Boxing Day sales for stores. That's what it is for musicians. New Year's gig.
Boxing Day.
Yeah.
It was big, except that it didn't come at a discount until after 2000.
Right.
Prior to that, we were building a war chest.
Okay.
Financially, right?
Yeah.
You know, because musicians were getting something like $1,000 a night then.
That was great.
And then they thought, with the new millennium, let's charge $2,000 a night because this is going to be just the biggest event ever, right? So I was playing at a club. Normally, the dinners are like $100, $120 a piece, upscale club. New Year's Eve, they were charging $2,400 for a couple.
Wow.
And when you open the paper, all the classifieds and the ads, because they used to fill out the newspapers with ads for New Year's Eve, right? It was a big deal. And they're like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a night. And then like 2 days out, it's like, how about $150 for a couple?
Yeah.
Nobody went.
Well, the best part
is
killed
it off.
When you saw those exorbitant amounts, they would always say in the fine print, comes with a paper hat and a free glass of champagne. You're like, my goodness, how am I going to pass this up?
Yeah, and like what's on the menu? Tacos and
tacos,
beets,
which is all right, if you're health conscious.
It would have been great.
Yeah, but now in the gigs, did you enjoy doing these? Because they're late nights generally. I remember you having to try to flag a cab home at like 3 a.m, 2 a.m, which is not easy on New Year's Eve.
Here's a testimonial.
Didn't you walk with a piano once?
Oh my goodness. I did it 25 straight years. I played New Year's Eve. Okay. 25 straight years. And from being a kid, 15 years old, where I played for nothing but a room of people who were kind of gone, a lot of alcohol and a lot of people grabbing you around the neck.
The night was roaring.
Play a polka, buddy.
Okay.
And we were playing at the El Macambo, like a house band. We did for like 3, 4, 5 years where we would play New Year's Eve downstairs. And then, like I said, the millennium kind of killed it off in 2000. People said, we could buy a TV or we could go elsewhere. We could take a vacation for the price of going to a nightclub for this.
Sure.
Let's go somewhere. Let's do something entirely different. And it kind of hit the community, the musicians in shockwaves, and there was no gigs for a long time and gradually came back. Yeah, and I did that gig. This was the most brutal gig I can think I remember.
Hit me.
Okay, I did a gig down at St. Lawrence Market area and with a really bad singer and her husband, and they fought all night on the stage.
Awesome.
It was just the best. I got
bringing
that
the good
spirit,
vibes.
Bringing the new year in. This was just the best.
Best year ever.
And then there was a woman that got so inebriated that she was on the floor and she was like swimming.
Okay.
Because she had her 12-year-old daughter with her.
Oh, okay.
And they cut her off, right? And she runs to the bar and throws her arms around all the whiskey bottles, and they had to separate her from the bottles. Then they called the Clark Institute, and they wanted to cart her away, and nobody would touch her. So I'm watching this, and I'm going, how can you play behind this?
How do you follow it up?
How do you follow that up?
What song is appropriate?
The singer and her husband drummer are screaming at each other on the bandstand, arguing and calling each other's names all night. And a sideman was sitting there going, can we get home?
Can we play just one more song?
One more song.
Yeah.
So what happened is that like 2:30 the gig ends. We didn't get paid to 3:30. They're fighting with the club owner. They get to pay finally. I leave the club, and I walk out, and there's one cab. And it's freezing. It's like 25 below. There's one cab, and he wants $100 tip.
Just
start
saying.
with. Just saying. So I just started walking home, and it was freezing, and it was a long walk. We got up to Bathurst in college, and it was all yellow tape. And some kid from Germany who was here, his dad came to visit him because they had lost contact. He shot his dad.
Oh,
so I said, this is just by 5 o'clock. I was in the house, and it was just so good.
And you locked the door and go, I will remain indoors
for the next 10 years.
10 years, no more gigs.
So, anyway, let's play some music, Jay. There's more memories of New Year's Eve gigs.
More to come.
It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here. So I know you got some tunes lined up. What you got?
I got, you remember Fearless Flyers, Wolfpack?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of a track. Their tracks, I was noticing when I was picking music, these tracks are short now.
Yeah.
They're acting like, in the pop scene where they're
do you
like,
know why?
Why are they a minute and a half or 2 minutes?
So people play the songs more on Spotify so we get paid.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, on TikTok, Spotify. The shorter the song, the more that you're going to play it.
Okay, so here's two short ones together. I'm going to combine them to make a 3-minute song. Fearless Flyers, and this is Lewis Coles right here on CIUT 89.5.
This is Gloria Martin. Happy New Year. It's been a pleasure sharing stories and ideas with CIUT listeners on The Bill King Show. I hope you'll join us in the coming months for much more. Wishing all our listeners health and happiness in 2023.
And we're back. Jess, any thoughts on Mariah Carey? Because she ruled this Christmas. This is what, her 4th or 5th year, #1?
I'm glad you asked me this.
10 weeks?
So she is now set. There's 2 records.
Okay.
So this is the record. All I Want for Christmas hangs atop the Billboard Hot 100 for an 11th total week, extending Carey's record for the most weeks of an artist, ranking at #1 on the chart, 90 in her career. So she's had 90 #1s.
That's amazing.
She's held that position. Now, just before we came to record this, I think this is really the fact that everybody will be fascinated by is, of course, it's like the #1 Christmas song. And it's played everywhere. So you wonder, how much does she make every year from this song? Apparently, $2.4 million in royalties. And royalties are generated by playing it in public places like radio.
Streaming now.
Yeah. So that's what she collects annually for one song. Now, multiply that times the last 30 years, plus the sales of the CD and her appearances. I mean, she's made pretty much an entire career
since
off
1994.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. You know, it's rare to have a song like that. She's up there in that category of like White Christmas. And
White
Little
Christmas
Drummer
is
Boy.
still #1.
Yeah.
That was 50 million sold.
Yeah. So,
That's still #1.
But she's up there.
Bing Crosby.
She's in that top, let's say, 10 to 20 category of Christmas songs.
I caught part of her special. It was fantastic.
It was an extravaganza.
Oh, man,
wasn't it?
She sang fantastic.
Yeah.
And to have the Rockettes at the end.
I think she was lip syncing at parts of the time.
Could be.
And other parts, you could see, it was a combo. But I kind of get that if you're kind of going the whole night.
And the band was just killer.
Think about that. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that made a really uplifting, fun Christmas special. And she produced it. She knew what she was doing.
Well,
I
you
give
think
credit
of
for
this,
that.
she definitely knows what she's doing because she's a legacy artist now.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at Vegas. You're not going to have hits anymore. Not like you did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's really about where do you shine the most, like Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville. That's his thing. So he
Yeah.
built out an entire career around, he has the restaurant bar, he's got the shirts, the merchandise, the tours. She's done the same thing for Christmas. She owns Christmas. As a living person, right?
Yeah.
An artist, she's done that. Let's have the extravaganza. She was here in Toronto a few years ago opening up the Hudson's Bay Christmas window.
Yeah.
And she sang.
She's
She had
got
like
that.
$2 million just for showing up. I'm like, this is a good gig. I need to write a Christmas song. No, I'm going to write the Happy Halloween song.
But it was just her and somebody else sit down and wrote this.
Yeah.
And she wrote the lyrics to it. They did it quickly. And he went back and tried drum machines and all sort of things before they settled on the whole layout of the song. And then she did all the background singing. They did basically themselves.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's just killer. More music, Jess. What
Yes.
do we got?
Well, it looks like we're going to play
With
this
George
is-
Clinton, right?
I tried to find information about this band.
There's nothing.
The best I got was 7 years ago, an analog intelligence network was created to reflect the cultural mixing pot of London, which we call smudge. That's all I got.
Okay, well, this is good enough. It's called Up in Just a Place.
Make a joyful noise in this mother. is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is quite a drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking good when you're on top. It's just a place to throw down from. Looking good when you're on top. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is hard to drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is hard to drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down, it's hard to drop. Make a joyful noise in this spot. Dance to this.
Sort of this time in the show, Jesse, that when we were together before, you always had you said something informative, you know.
Factoids. It's like trivia that you don't need, but we like to share. So 2 points. One is actually cool. 1928.
Okay.
Ma Rainey, mother of the blues, made her last record. That's amazing. That's when she made her last record. 1928.
That's a while back.
Speechless, aren't you? Thought there was now we're going to go a little more contemporary. 30 years later.
Okay.
So we go from Ma Rainey making
her last record
in 1928 to 1958. 30 years later, and we've got the debut of the Chipmunks, who hit #1 with their first song.
They just come out of the box.
Bookends.
Yeah,
bookends. You get me?
Two different significant periods.
You can see where we went from like down home, real genuine blues to formulated pop 30 years later by the Chipmunks having a #1.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's something to chew on for the day. Thomas Bell. Bell Records.
Bell Records, yes.
Huff and Gamble. He was part of the Philadelphia Sound. He passed away, sadly, at 79.
And the songbook.
Yeah, really. I mean, that's the relevance here. The Philly Sound.
That was the best.
Incredible.
More music, Jess. We'll play Sean Martin now. Sound check. What About It? Emma Jean, Thackeray, and Son. A couple of shorties.
You're doing mixing.
Mixing together. Here we go.
I dig it.
Hi, this is Mark Hebscher from The Bill King Show, wishing all of you a happy holiday and especially a happy and healthy 2023. All the best.
And we're back. Jess, let me follow up with the best New Year's gig.
Okay, so that was the worst before.
Yeah, I ranked that. I think that's the worst because it was it was a disgraceful evening.
It was kind of traumatic for everybody involved.
I've never got over it.
Yeah, well, see, that's the fact. You remember this like it was yesterday. All right, so the best. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Let's talk about the best.
The great Cornelia Luna. She was in Miss Saigon. She was Les Mis in Les Mis on Broadway, The King and I, and all this. So I played with her at the beginning of her career when she was 20 years old, and she's in Miss Saigon, and she sells out the Winter Garden, right? And then I don't hear from her for years because she's out in the world. And she comes back to Toronto and she says, calls me up. She goes, I got a thing at CIUT for women, young women. Would you come in and play piano for me? So I did it. And I thought, this one is just a fantastic singer. At that thing, a man came up to her and he says, I'm a lawyer and we're having a big party on New Year's Eve at my place in the Bridle Path. And I would love for you two to play. So I forgot about it.
Stick a bridle in my mouth. Let's go.
I'll just ride you up to the door. So she's in town during the Christmas period, visiting relatives and stuff. And we're talking. I said, you know, that guy gave you a card. Would you like to do New Year's Eve? She goes, I forgot about it. She calls him up. She goes, absolutely. 45-minute set. Come to my house. So we go out to the Bridle Path. They send taxis to pick us up. We get there, walk in the door, and the whole place is laid out like a nightclub.
Very cool.
Everything. And in the back room is food flown in from Japan. Ice statues.
Wow.
Everything. The whole thing is done up. Then there's the TV screen where you can do karaoke, right? Or you can ride a bike in front of it like you're,
Peloton, yeah.
Yeah, like a Peloton from back then, right? All this is there. So Cornelia and I get ready and we go up and we do Broadway show tunes, 45 minutes of it. And they go crazy. It's just a beautiful crowd. And at the end of it, they hand us bouquets of flowers.
Nice.
Then a nice chunk of money. Put me in the cab, and I was home by 10:30.
Oh, man, that's the best gig ever.
Let me tell you.
See, when you did the comparison.
I expected that every gig after that to be like that.
They set the bar was real high.
The bar was real high.
I tell you, a funny gig, and when you expect, when the bar is set high and then it goes down throughout the night, a show I'm doing somewhere in Germany, this crew is set up the night. I'm the headliner. They've brought their own sound system. They got a big hall. Fantastic. The catering and everything in my dressing room was mind-blowingly enormous. It's just piles of everything you could possibly imagine. Any kind of drink you want is wonderful. Beautiful welcoming. Then I start playing the gig, and they keep turning down my volume the entire time. And I'm like, wait a second here. Didn't you pay for me to come do all this? Why are you turning on? Well, it turns out because they don't want me to be louder or better than them. That's what it was.
They're on it.
Because it was their sound system.
Absolutely.
It was the funniest thing. I'm like, this is a very strange thing to go through. So starting high, going low.
We understand that.
Yeah.
Some music, Jay?
Let's do it. What are we going to play? Spudtacular music. Wait a minute.
Okay, right here on The Bill King Show with Jesse King from Basement Sessions.
my side. Oh, hey, in a minute, you know they turn on you 'cause they know that I'm justified. Can't help it, 'cause I'm creative, know my purpose, driven by a fire. And it seems so amplified. How do you even justify the way that you treat me? And I told you time and again, since way before the beginning. Tell me, what am I supposed to believe? Yeah, tell me, what am I supposed to believe? Ooh, what am I supposed to believe? Ooh, what am I supposed to believe?
Here we are, and we're back. It's Jesse, Bill King. We're back together again after being off the radio like a year or so, I guess over about a year, when we had Soul Nation. But in between time, we continue our big passion in life, which is cycling.
It's like every day.
Every day. And you have chosen to ride all winter now. Is this your second winter? Or
Yeah,
what?
yeah, it's right.
And it's only my 50th?
Yeah, I had to join.
So you trying to catch me?
I can't ever. That's a lot to make up for, but it's become like the Zen moment of your day.
Yeah.
To get out when you've got the layers. You know, at Christmas, you and Mom were very kind to get me some.
Oh man!
You didn't get me socks. You got me something I can really use.
Some heat tech.
Some winter biking clothing. So it's really all about the layers. And once you're layered up, I mean, I was out like you a few days ago. It was like minus 25.
Yeah.
You could do it, and it's actually great if it's dry out, and you just got zip.
It's just the roads. That's the only thing you have to watch out for ice. Yeah.
That's the key. You know,
the rest you can handle.
Yeah, and it's a great joy, but what it really does is just energizes you, right, for the day, because especially during these times where it's kind of a little bit more bleak, there's not a lot of sun, it's too cold. It's not the kind of thing you want to go out and say, hey, I just feel like sitting in a park. No, you need something to do. And
got to move.
Yeah. And you've been doing this for 50 years in the biking in the winter. You were saying that years ago, this may not have been during winter, when you were carrying the 50-pound bag of Purina dog food across, the plains of, northern Ontario.
Newcastle, out east.
the dog needed to eat, and the best you had was a rickety old bike.
Yeah, this is when we were living in the farm in Newcastle, 1970. And no thoughts of biking. And I noticed in the barn there, we had been walking to town all the time, right, from the farm. And Bobby Orr owned this farm.
Oh, okay.
So it was his farm.
Some hockey loving there.
Yeah, some hockey loving in that farm.
Respect.
So 300 acres of corn behind us, 60 acres or 80 acres of apples.
Of hockey sticks.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
None of that is there now. It's a sprawling subdivision with a farmhouse still there.
Really?
But we would walk to town, and then I just discovered this bike in the garage, and I looked at it and I said,
"No, what kind of bike was this? That just standard kind of like
standard kind of
60s bike,
rusted,
50s,
messy."
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, what's this for? And then,
how does this work?
And I got on it,
Yeah.
and then, flat tires, and started moving. And then I walked it into town, got the tires fixed and pumped up, and I'm riding it back, and it's all shaky and everything. And then I'm thinking, I can go anywhere now. I thought about that because it took a long time for that to kick in, right? So I started biking everywhere with it, up the road, down the road. And then the dogs, we had 4 or 5 dogs. I said, oh, God, they need some kibble. So I knew there was a Purina plant somewhere.
And this is like
1970, right?
Yeah.
So I take off to Purina plant, and they got the big bags, 50-pound bags. And I said, okay, I take that. So I threw that
The
off
horse
my
feed bag.
shoulder. I'm going down the highway in the back roads with Purina dog chow.
That's how you did it back then.
Yeah.
And, you have to point out that those bikes, probably weren't maintained at all.
No.
And they're steel framed.
Yeah.
With like steel rims.
So
it's
heavy.
like 40 pounds right there just to start.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when did you get a passion for biking? I mean, because you've been cycling my entire life, every single day, pretty much for the entire time that I can remember.
I've known you.
I still remember that day that we met. Fantastic. It's etched in the old brain. So when do you think you really found that I absolutely love this? I can never not bike.
This is a true story. I had my first record out on Capitol, Goodbye Superdad. Okay? Paul Hoffert was my manager. And he goes to SOCAN. The record's getting a lot of airplay. And he says, can we get this guy like an advance? So they gave me a chunk of money in advance, a few $1,000s. So the first thing I did was go out and buy 2 Peugeots, 2 white Peugeots, one for her, one for him, and a Petrov piano.
Well spent.
I settled in, and that day we began our biking. And the two of us talked, and these were 10 speeds, right? And they were beautiful. And that day, the two of us biked together for 40 years.
And let me ask you.
Yeah.
How much do you think the bikes were? Do you remember what they
About
cost?
100 a quarter each.
Amazing.
Yeah.
For Peugeot.
But they were beautiful.
Yeah.
And it used to be wherever we go to Hyde Park.
Oh, man. You guys would go to the Humber,
Hyde
Park.
All through the
all
city.
All over the city.
Yeah.
Beaches.
And that did it. And then one day I figured out you can do this year round if you just
That's the trick.
put the clothes on.
Yeah. And it makes such a difference, too.
And the year round sort of came. I was doing year round sort of spotty, but it was when the mountain bikes came, 1978, 79, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I opened up Outside Magazine.
There it was.
And it's the first one I ever saw. The Marins.
Yeah, what exactly came out of California?
Yeah,
that was the first
out
one.
of San Francisco area.
Yeah.
In Marin County, there
was the Marins. Yeah.
the first ones. And I went looking, and there was one mountain bike in Toronto, and I bought it. It was a leader.
I remember that black leader.
Remember that?
Yeah, I sure do.
And I biked around the city, and I'm biking around, and everybody's stopping me. You're going, what is that?
What is this new technology?
I've never seen anything. We've seen the European touring bike, and then we've seen the 10-speed, but we haven't seen one with wheels like that.
What is this hybrid here? And it's amazing
It caught on.
diversity and the explosion of it today, where, it's been around for a few years, like more mainstream is the fat tire bikes, which are, that's what people go off-roading with in the winter or ride in the winter. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the great stuff. Jess, I thought we'd celebrate with a track me and you did.
Yeah.
This is called Takedown with the JMP Kings. This was our first year of COVID that we actually record a track each month and put out.
We did. Yeah.
We had to do something during
COVID-ness.
COVID in 2020, right? So this is the Takedown. And we're back, and it was JMB King's takedown.
So here's a good question for you. We're heading into winter. We went through winter earlier this year. And in those times that's where you tend to watch things. So is there a couple shows or movies that you felt would be worth watching for other people that you would recommend?
Well, we all loved White Lotus, and I'm enjoying the George Jones and Tammy Wynette story, some things like that. But I think for me, what I've really discovered is that other channel, which is now a serious channel, and that's YouTube TV.
Okay, you're on it.
If you're stuck for something to watch, just go to YouTube and you just say, I want to know about this. I want to hear about this. And when that comes up, everything comes up. And then you go down the
rabbit hole.
It is huge. So I've been everywhere with the Jay Dilla thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, the music, the Rick Beato.
Yeah, Rick Beato. Yeah,
I've been through his stuff. Sports, not so much politics. I'm trying to stay away from that, but just an array of interesting things. Where was I? I was into something. Buddy Rich.
Okay,
this was great.
This guy's amazing.
I don't know why this came up, but it was like 40 minutes of Buddy Rich tapes, right?
Right.
And they begin the thing with Buddy Rich on the bus, where he's just swearing at everybody and the recording. It's a classic, right? They even turned it to a comic book of his ranting and everything. But it's just different drummers talking about their relationship with Buddy Rich. Oh. And, because he was a hard guy to know, and he was just brutal to everybody. And they're just talking about him and walking in the club while they were playing. And him sitting at the bar, and he's making comments.
Put that eye on you, yeah.
He's making comments about your playing, right? And I think he's sort of telling the one about Shelly Manne, the great drummer. And Shelly Manne was number 1 on Downbeat.
Okay.
Buddy Rich was number 2. Didn't sit well, so you wanted to see who this Shelly Manne guy was, right? And Shelly Manne was a Los Angeles drummer, Hollywood drummer, really smooth. And they say Shelly Manne was shaking when he got on the stage. So he's playing along and everything. He's doing kind of little brush tricks, all his little things. Yeah. And what's his name going? He's making comments at the bar all the time about the guys playing. Okay. And other drummers said he did that all the time.
Now, let me ask you. Yeah. I mean, I've seen the clips of Buddy Rich and Art Blakey, a lot of these guys. Buddy Rich is just like on an entirely different level.
Another planet.
Like, it's smooth, it's technical, it's creative. It's kind of everything that one of the all-time greatest drummers requires to get that title. Yeah. Would you say that's probably correct?
Yeah, it's hard to say because there's so many drummers that did everything. John Bonham did his thing. You can go through each one of these style of drummer. Charlie Watts did his thing. Yeah. There was something about Ringo. I'm down the rabbit hole. Ringo being quizzed about playing on Come Together and on Ticket to Ride. And he's sitting there with his drum kit and he's playing the parts and you're going, those are fantastic. And then he's telling you, that's because I'm left-handed. Yeah. This is why
that's right. He would have to start. He would start from the drum rolls from the other side. That's right.
The other side, right? Yeah. So I think this is sort of the magic of it all. Is just that I was telling you the other day about the woman who played harp on one of Paul McCartney's on one of the Beatles things, right? And she gives her story about playing harp and how the session went down and the whole thing. That's why I say for me YouTube TV is fascinating.
I'd have to say, you do. I never thought of it as the go-to to watch, but it's got everything. I'd say for me this year, the LA Lakers story that was on HBO.
Winning time.
It's not 100% accurate, but it's great fun. The Shaq was good.
Fantastic.
There's a show that's on Netflix called Dark, and it's a German kind of mystery slash. It's worth a watch because it's very interesting and it keeps you held through the several seasons that it has. And it's kept continually cropping up on people's things like you have to watch this. And one of those shows that I remember, that's the thing. Most of these shows that we come and go, you get into them, then you move on. You don't even think about them again. White Lotus does stand out because it was something different than everything else. So, but there's plenty of stuff to watch out there and hunker down for this winter.
And we got the new year coming up.
I'm ready for it.
2023.
Ciao, 2022.
Are you there?
I mean, this is not. Yeah, let's move on.
Looking out the window from the inside of my head, what I had in mind. Is it recess or recession? Bit worried, cause I ain't stressing. One side said we gon' hit the incline. One side said we get in the end time. In the middle of the match where I been fine. I ain't confined, I was left in. If it's out of my control, I ain't stressing. Only cutting from the cloth I was dressed in. Well groomed in a room full of best men. Great suit, try to train me not to question. On average, I'm the exception. Run the math if it's anything less than. If the path get blocked even one time, no conspiracy can tell me what it meant then. So what's next then? I'ma keep it moving, I got no choice. Representing for the weak of us, but no voice. Rich enough to be protected by who elected, and black enough to be respected, but still mess with. Pulled over in the Buick of a Rolls Royce. 5'9" and 6'3", they gon' feel threatened. Your fragility is sitting under your weapon. You ain't hard, you just happy cause you're so moist. More than one thing try kill me, yeah. More than one name try build me, yeah. Keep my hands clean, let's be talking about riches. That's the only thing that's filthy, yeah. Nothing left in his life left untainted. Upcharged for the pure, so we cut raw. Here's an app with some people you can complain with. Rest assured,
I'm the pros, I'm the cons, I'm the hope in the harm. I'm the lead for belief, here to leave you in the storm. Throw the raft, throw a leash. What you need is what you form. Round your neck, on your arm, just keep calm. Rest assured it's the cure.
everybody got a way of coping. Talk about it, have a sip, smoke it. You can tell it's serious when I be downplaying. Most scared when I be joking. Looking for a fix and I'm hoping. Both knees on the ground praying. What I even hear when spoken? Feel more familiar than faith is. I'ma stop looking for an answer. Search inside how to make it. Media delivering the breakdown. And when it break down, I can take it. Tell me something that I wanna hear. Like, can you find a new replacement? Babylon line off the top. I'ma take it back to the basement. I can lose a door found laying in a gutter. Get it all back, that's word to my mother. Comfy in the county where it's really all black. Chilly in the city where it's getting off color. Never made it rain, I can save a long rack. On a rainy day, you know how to take cover. Let it all flood, I'ma swim it all back. I ain't made of iron, I'm just braver than the others. Life don't let you, but it let it come test. But if you love life, you can get a wrong number. If you go on to learn to take a long breath. Wait it on now, come back with a flex. Looking for a hand, all I ever got was steps. Walked on once, now I walk on quest. I can walk on water, I can walk on set. My drip game, only thing wet.
I'm the pros, I'm the cons, I'm the hope in the harm. I'm the lead for belief, here to leave you in the storm. Throw the raft, throw a leash. What you need is what you form. Round your neck, on your arm, just keep calm. Rest assured it's the cure.
Make a joyful noise in this mother.
footsteps, hard to keep up with. Stepping in footsteps, hard to keep up with. Oops, skip the dumb shit. I won't You can be you. Dance to this. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is quite a drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking good when you're on top. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking good when you're on top. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is quite a drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down is quite a drop. Up is just a place to throw down from. Looking down, it's hard to make a joyful noise in this
Next.
Jess. Hey, it's great having you here, Jess.
Thanks for having me, Pops.
And
Great time.
And to everybody at our station, we have, 73 shows? I think there's 73 shows. We got just a top-notch radio station.
Don't forget the puppet show that I do free Saturdays.
You do a puppet show?
It's out front of the station. Yeah, it's not really affiliated with the station, but it's a show.
Oh, you thought you'd take it on the road? No. Jesse's Puppet Show. Everybody, Happy New Year from me and Jess, from Jessica Bellamy, from Mark Hebscher, from Gloria Martin. We love you all. We'll catch you next week, every Saturday. I call this is like our Saturday magazine. We're here to have fun and entertain and bring all the stories.
Saturday matinee.
Saturday matinee.
Till in quarter.
Catch you later. Bill King Show, CIUT 89.5. A big thank you for all who tuned in to Bill King Show. We'll catch you on the other side.